What's up, everybody? I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and welcome to another episode of The Right Mindset live and in person. Today, we're going to show you how to format a manuscript to send to an agent or a publisher or somebody that's willing to read your book. So let's do the intro and get right to it. Welcome to another episode. Today is how to format your manuscript for the novel or your novel manuscript. Before we get started, if you're new here or you've been watching and you like it, why don't you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss out? It'd be really great. Let's get right into it. Do. Let's see. Boop. Oh, there we are. Hey, how's it going? All right. First things first, same as the verse. We got to get into the reality of it. Let's go down to some of the bulk here. Boop. You know what? One second. Wait for it. Is that good? Can you see that clearly? Yeah, you can see that clearly. All right. If you can't see that clearly, you just let me know. All right. So first things first, same as the verse. As you can see, you need a 12-point Times New Roman, which is pretty standard, or serif or sans. That'll make you happy. So first things first, let's go here. I'm using Google Docs, by the way, but it would be the same on any outlet. Ugh, that's as high as I can go on the chair, so that's awkward. Okay. So there we go. We got that, and we got the 12. All right. So this is pretty much the clearest version of it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm pretty cool with open sans. See that? Like this could work, right? Open sans, because it's clear. It's clear to read. I just go with the standard though. It's because they're so used to seeing it. And also, it helps the words stand out a little bit more. I mean, not right this second because I didn't do the next step, but we're going to get into that. Oh, man. The pollen is killing me. All right. So what's next? Well, now we have to jump into the margins. The margins are important too. So if you're on Google Docs, you could just go to page setup through file. If you're on a different format, you just got to go there. So you want it to be 1 inch around. Okay. What she said. Boom. There you go. Look at that. 1 inch around. So we're getting there. Look, it's already starting to form, and it makes sense here. Okay, so that's good. This is pretty simple stuff. All right. Okay. Now, before we even get into the title work and everything like that, it's important to know that see, this is the chapter 1. I'll do that when we get to it. But it's saying you should do this. Okay. In a book, though, traditionally you would not indent the first paragraph of a chapter, and I wouldn't do that on a manuscript either. But when you get to a new section of your story, keep in mind you want to do that. Let me just. So, Flint did his thing. Now he's going to speak. So if we were going to do that, so it would look like that. Okay. And this is pretty common for any writer. Just make sure you do it. But that first line after a chapter intro, or like a chapter break or something like that, you shouldn't really do the indent. Okay. This is where it gets exciting. Double spacing. Now, double spacing, you don't want to do that up here on this, you just want to do it on the actual manuscript itself. So we're going to do one of these. I didn't do a whole book here. I just did a couple pages just for that. Format, double space. Now, the reason you do double space is because when the agent or publicist opens the book, takes the paper, and they're going to print it out. They usually will print it out. All right. And they use it for writing notes within there. It's just much easier for them to write notes. It clears it up. It's like, if you look at this, it's easier to read this than it is to read this. It's too close together. So you do the double space to really give it some room to breathe. And also that'll increase your page size. I mean, if we go back, for example, this is page 3, page 5. So that's 2 pages. It actually might, let's see. Let's go back to single. Yeah, so we actually gain a whole extra page because of the double. Boop. So it is going to be longer in page length, but in reality, what agents and publicists look for is word count. Word count will dictate the page count based on the size of it. Like if you go by your 6.9 standard, or depending on how big your book is, if it's going to be a paperback carry-on, that changes it all. That changes it all. But you want to have this double spacing. Okay. What brings us to the next thing? All right. Alignment. Oh, left-hand side. So you don't want to do this. All right. You don't want to justify. And the reason is because sometimes, let's see if we get it it might not get it here, but it does happen where like a word will actually be broken up weird and it messes up the reading. So what you do is you maintain a left hand justified. Obviously you don't want to do that. And this looks weird. So you do that and you just accept the fact that it's not going to be even on the right hand side. But that's where it traditionally will fall. This is some easy stuff. I'm putting it on the screen so you can, write down. Okay, page count. Now, page count actually starts at the first narrative page. So in this situation, these pages would not get numbers. They would get Roman numerals. So if we were going to do this, we go format, page numbers. We'll do them as a footer, and we'll actually start on page 2, I believe, right? Did that work? That didn't work. 1 second. Boop. 1, 2. We're going to start on page 3. All right. Format, page number, page 3. It should. I don't know why it's not working. Option. Well, Google's being weird. Oh, I see what's going on. I see what's going on. All right. Okay. All right. It's a little different on Google than it is on Microsoft. But ultimately, you want to have page 1 would be wherever your first chapter starts. And you sometimes won't actually have the number there. Let's see if I can. And sometimes they put the number on the top right-hand corner. But for example, if we look at... so you probably can't see this, but we'll try. if you look at Game of Thrones, this is the prologue. There's no number, but that is page 1 because page 2 starts and then page 3. So the way it works is on the first potential chapter. If you have a prologue, that's your first potential chapter. Even though it's a prologue chapter. That's where you would start your numbers. All the pages before then would be Roman numerals. If you want to use them, you don't have to. You don't need numbers for anything that's before that, but if you do it traditionally, it would be Roman numerals. All right. What's next? Oh, scene breaks. All right. Soft and hard breaks. All right. Whoops. I don't know if you've read this book before, but it's a fun book. It's a fun read. This is actually the first book I ever read. Well, the first book I ever read in fantasy where I was like, this is the schnizzle. No, all right. That's not what I said. But because he was home. All right. Okay, burning. He's a burning love. I'm just trying to format it a little bit for you before I get into the craziness of it. As one would know, as Flint sat there, my own home. Okay. You'll never learn, dwarf. My house, my room. Dwarf. The Dungeons & Dragons book. If you don't know what it is, it's the Dragonlance Chronicles. Where the Twilights. It's Dragons of Autumn Twilight. What's going on with my? Oh, the camera's being weird. That's all right. I'll just do one of these for you. There you go. So anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let me fix that. Okay. All right. Here we are. We're back. All right. Okay. So, where are we? Flint, drop in the sword. Don't drop the sword in the shower. It's inappropriate. Okay, you'll never learn, dwarf. All right, drop in the wood. But he couldn't place it. All right, Flint. Only gonna do a couple more. Tanis, the half elf. Where is he? Tanis? Said Flint. Oh, see, it's getting all weird again. All right. Whatever. I apologize for the camera getting like blurry like that. Anyway. Oh, okay. The same. All right. I'm showing you the spaces just so it makes sense to you when you look at it. And then I'm going to make up fake soft breaks and stuff like that because, well. Oh, look, they're having a conversation. Isn't that nice? Okay. Tanis scratches his head. And he's like, yo, man, what's up? Flint grunted. He did. All right. Not from what I remember. Tanis. Okay. By the way, if you want to look at the format of voicing of their voicings, like I like that. My own home fire's gone out, Flint said softly. He shook himself, angry at feeling sentimental, and began slicing at the wood with a vengeance. This is present tense. He grumbled. No, well, okay, maybe not. No, this is past tense. He grumbled loudly. My house has been sitting empty. A roof probably leaked, ruined the furniture. Stupid quest. Silliest thing I ever did. After 148 years, I ought to have learned. What's nice about this, the reason that it's action, there's action beats between the dialogue, and since it's all within Flint's action, it's one paragraph. So you wouldn't actually, it wouldn't look like this. Like you wouldn't do this. You just wouldn't do that. That's for people. By the way, I understand there's some people who are experienced writers watching this. I'm telling that for beginner writers and stuff like that. Anyway, you'll never learn, dwarf. That's what they say. All right, so let's get to these soft and hard breaks. A soft break would look like this. Okay. All right. Boom. There'd just be a space like that. Very simple. If it was a hard break, okay, it would actually, you would do one of these. You would do one of these, right? Or you could do one of these, right? Wait. Let's do a better one than that. Okay. Do one of these, right? It's not lining up. Oh, you know why? Because I'm not using Microsoft. Boop. Do like a line like that. Okay. The other thing you could do is you can get your own design. You could put your own like little twist on it. So if you have like a line design for a hard break, you can do that. But yeah, so there you go. You got a soft break is just the space, and a hard break is the line or 3 asterisks. Keep in mind, a soft break is when it's still within the same narrative, but they're just moving a little quicker, or like basically, like let's say the narrative is we're in the house and we're talking about cars, and then we go outside and we continue the car conversation, but it's like slightly forward. It's not like literally hey, do you like cars? And then they're outside and they're like, yes, I do like cars. Like, you don't want to do that. But if they're like, yeah, I like cars and I've been racing them since I was a kid, then they're outside and it's like, I can't believe, your dad took you to the race car track at that young. It must change your life. Right. And that could be a soft break. But a hard break would be that they're talking about cars. And then we cut to the racetrack. It's a big jump. There's a lot of distance and a lot of time has changed. So, but again, like I'm so glad we learned that we both like cars, and and that there was a race this Saturday or whatever. So that would be like a hard break. But anyway, next sentence separation, no double space. So this is a controversial statement, but I don't know if you know this. Typewriters aren't really the traditional way we write. So when it comes to periods, you only got to do one, just like that. You just got to do that one space. And agents and publishers don't like this double space stuff. They get really irate with it for some reason. My friend who is an agent said that it gives away your age or your lack of ability to adapt to the changing times. And that was usually done because the way printers worked back then and typewriters, it wasn't always like clear. So just remember to do the single space after a period, not the double. No matter how much you feel you are a rebel, keep it simple. Keep it simple. All right. What's next? Oh, all right. So at the end of the story, you want to do one of these at the end of your manuscript, right? Just so you can see some. All right. So at the end of the manuscript, it's very simple. You go like this. Wait. Boop. Just like that. It's that simple. You just write that end. You go end, right? And you want to make it centered. You could do it right after the line. You could do it like that, or you could give it a double up like that. It's up to you. It's very simple to format. You just got to be in it to win it, as they say. You got to be in it to win it. All right. Okay. Where are we? What's going on here? Hey. Okay. And page size. So the page size, you want it to be 8 by, so let's check that. Let's check the page. 8 by 11 by, okay, there we go. Boom. And the reason you want to do that is because when agents or publishers print it out to look at it or read the manuscript, they're not going to have an issue with where to print it, how to print it, why to print it. The majority of printers in the world are designed to do a nice print like that. All right, so let's get to the top. Now we're moving on to basically your title and author page. Okay, so or actually, okay, this. All right, this is very simple. You want to oh wait. Okay. So you want to have this is the series, right? The Dragonlance Chronicles 1, right? Maybe that's the name of your book. And if it is, you could do it like that. But let's just say it's Dragons Mortem Twilight. Let's just make it simple because not everyone does that. Okay. And then you want to do a space like that. Right. So I already have the name. Okay. And you're going to say novel by. Novel by. Novel by. Right. Then you're going to actually have more information. You're going to add name here. Okay. So we might go, hey, Jacob Jingleheimer. Okay. And then their address 123 Street Lane State. That's 111 oh 1 2 3 4 5. All right, and then your phone number. You don't have to do this one. You just have to do like 1 2 3 4 5 6 9 0. Okay, so this is like probably the most important thing to have on your manuscript, even though it might be in your email. You want it to be on the physical copy. I would almost most definitely do this as well. I would make like let's do this just so you can. That's fine. I would almost do that. I would have it say end and then have your name and number at the bottom as well. That would not throw off the manuscript too much, but this is how they contact you. So you want that there. Now, word count. If your book is, say, let's say it's an epic fantasy, and we're going with your standard or whatever, but 120,000. Let's say, but you look at your book and it's 123,428 words, right? Just say it's 123,000 words. Just you want to round up, right? I mean, technically, a roundup would be 100 like this, right? You might want to round up to that. So 123, but that doesn't look nice. So just boom. And it's okay to be a little bit above or whatever the case may be. All right. This is the publishing company, so this wouldn't be there because you're not published yet. You would do this word. You would spell it correctly. Okay. You can do whatever makes you happy. All right. Now, next. Yeah, so you got the name, you got your title, whoop, you got your name, and you got that. All right, there's another thing that I wanna go over. Oh boy, chapters. By the way, this I have there. This wouldn't be here because your book doesn't exist yet. But if it did, it would actually start on its own page. It would be like that. So you'd have your title page. And this should technically go down half the page. Zoom out. You want to go down half the page. Like that. That looks good to me. Not that again, this would not be in your manuscript, but if it was in your regular book, that's how it would be. This page, then this, and then there would actually be a blank space. You have a blank page, and then whatever. But since this is for the manuscript and not the published book, do this. You do the intro. Now for the chapters. Let's get that on there. For the chapters, okay, you want chapters to always remain the same and everything. Okay, first and foremost, you definitely for each new chapter there are only a few rules you got to follow, and the chapter should be center like that. Okay, not like that. That. All right, and chapter should be so. Your first chapter, though, if you looking at the book, okay, no, that's about right. And you want to say chapter 1, or you could say chapter 1 like that. Okay, and then if you're gonna do this, do that. If you're gonna do this, do that. Right, like pick a format and stick with it. I like to do it like this. However, this is just for the manuscripts, so I'll just do it like that. But in my regular books, I kind of let the chapters feel like the chapter titles add a little bit of style to the book. All right, but this is the cleanest way you can go. Okay. Old friends meet, a rude introduction. Okay. Now, if you're not going to do all caps for the actual title, don't do all caps anywhere else. Let it look like this. So chapter 2 would be like that, and chapter 3, 4, 5. Right. Okay. All right. And continue this heading, as they come. New chapters should start on a blank page. So, for example, if I was coming down here, I wouldn't do this. Chapter 2. Oh, wait a minute. Chapter 2. Okay. Chapter 2. It all begins again, right? And then I wouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't do that. So if this is the end of the chapter, then I would do this. I would go all the way down and I would just start. I would let that kind of go, and then you put the new chapter on the next page. It's okay to have all that space. They're not going to stop reading, especially if it's chapter 1. But that's why you have this, because that will tell them there are no more chapters. See, there's a point to everything, my friends. A point to everything. All right. So there you go. There you go. Any questions? No? All right. Final thought. Let's do this. Boop. Now, remember, in reality, the manuscript is important for your agent first, because that's the first person you're sending it to. You're sending it to an agent, and then the agent has to send it to a publicist. And yeah, there's a good chance, if an agent picks you up, they're going to actually go over your manuscript and clean it up. They're probably going to do another re-edit on your manuscript in total. They're going to sit with you and they're going to work your story and hone it. Sorry about that. And through a conversation, they're going to discuss what your missions are. What are you looking to do? What's your long game? And the more you understand your plan, other than I want to make a living selling books while I write at home, like that shouldn't be your plan. Your plan isn't, I just want to be able to write books and you sell them. That isn't a plan, right? So, but if you go, well, I have several different series, or I'm trying to build a real world, or my goal is to take stories and bring them into the movie and film industry, and my hope is this and this and that, right? Whatever. I want to connect it to the comic books world too, and or there's animated stuff, or whatever. You got to think bigger and have a plan and be like, this is my plan. And then it starts with one book. And they go, all right, well, the best way to get to that plateau, to break that plateau, is to go this route. And if you want to do that, let's start maybe with a smaller book or a bigger book or a whatever book, and have a conversation with the agent that wants to represent you and or does represent you, and have a plan beyond whatever gets me to write at home and get paid to write books, and then I give it to you and you do whatever. Like, that's not a career for an author or a career mind. You want to have a plan. Anyway, so the manuscripts, the whole purpose of it is to give it to the agent and it to be clear and concise and ready to read and pretty. All they got to do is hit print and now. I will say this: do not send an unedited manuscript. Do not send an untreated manuscript. Let people read it before you send it to an agent. If you just send it to agents after you're like, and it's done, and then you send it away, you need feedback. Don't let the first person that reads your manuscript other than you be an agent. It's very difficult to get signed when your manuscript is an example of your future work, because it's your present touch and they don't know if you're going to get better. They don't. So allow this time before you send your manuscript to anyone to be like, let me get some beta readers involved. Let me get some alpha readers involved. Let me do a little bit of work on this, and also hire an editor. I would put the time into the manuscript the same way you would put a time into a book that you were going to self-publish, because the book needs to be clean. You don't have to have a cover like a beautiful cover made. You don't have to spend $700 to $1,500 on a big beautiful cover, but you do have to spend the money and time on the manuscript, on the editing, on the formatting, and just getting people to read it and give you feedback and work that story. And then that manuscript should be this is the book and the story, right? And if they like the book and the story, Now, a little key secret to getting someone to read past the first, have a good title to your book, have a good chapter name to your book, unless you're going with chapter 1, chapter 2, and you're comfortable with that. That's fine. Have a strong first sentence, have a strong first paragraph, and have a strong first page, right? And how do you make those strong? I know this is a format video for live, but just to give you a little insight. So how do you make a strong first line, a strong first paragraph, and a strong first page, and then connect that to the strong title of your book? Bring it down to the essence. The title should represent the essence of the book. It shouldn't just be Fourquois decides to ride a horse. Like the title should represent one of the fantasy novels that I'm working on right now is a part of a series. So the series is called The Maven Wars. So it's literally called The Maven Wars, and then it's a king's death. Why? Because the war starts with a king's death, right? And then it actually touches on something else because there's a big reveal in the book that represents the king, right? So it is the Maven War. It is the Maven War series. And what is this particular first book about? A king's death, because it's part of the inciting incident and all this other stuff, right? So then your first line, you want to say something but nothing at the same time. Let it be vague but informative. Let it create an idea, an image, an interest, something that you don't have to make it shock people. It doesn't have to be like, I stood there with blood on my hands and knew there was no way out. Like, that's a good first line, right? But you also don't want to always use dialogue for your first line. Okay, so maybe we change it. There, Frederick stood with blood on his hands and nowhere to go. Right now, what is that about? So then you take that first paragraph attached to that sentence, and you explore that beat without giving away too much. Vague but informative. Vague but informative means that you create a mood and seed information while not giving away too much. It's like when you meet somebody. If I meet you or you meet me, and 15 minutes of me just talking about me, hey, I did this, and blah, 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 I love blah, 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 my favorite color is blah, blah, blah. You'd be like, all right, this is too much. But if it's like, oh yeah, oh, you're at this this book con, what brought you here? Oh, some of my favorite writers are here. Stop. Oh, really? Now I get to be intrigued. Oh, that's actually why I came here. A lot of what writers are good for you? Oh, I like so and so and so and so. Oh, that's a good writer. Yeah, I got into writing actually because of blank blank blank. Oh, really? And you're building a conversation and a relationship through these very vague but informative answers that are leading you to be interested in going deeper. And that's what a story is. So that first sentence needs to be like boom, and then that first paragraph needs to explore that boom but maintaining vague but informative. And then by the end of that first page, you want to understand that vagueness to the point where it gives you enough information where you can move to the second page because you know what's happening and where it's going, but not enough information where you can tell where it's going. And what that ultimately means is if that's Frederick stood there with his hands covered in blood and nowhere to go, first line. Now he looks around the room. He searches the room for. No, he hears the sirens at the front window and frantically runs around the room trying to discard the knife that wasn't his in the first place. Wrong time, right place, wrong time, right? Whatever. Okay, and then you go and you go and you go, and then by the time that page ends, the character should either be making choices to get out of there or choices to confront what's coming, right? Or choices to just take it as it is. Like maybe they're a coward, maybe they're brave, maybe they're finding solutions. Like you need that on that first page. You need to know what their process is and how they think and see where their choices could take them. Because now, okay, next page, there better be some consistency to this character's choices and this, how are they handling that moment? So that's something to think about with your manuscript. I guess that's it. Oh, by the way, next week will be the I'm starting the first draft of the How I Write My Novel series. So it's step 5. So you'll see all the work I've done with the outlining and brainstorming, and you'll see how I take the plot points, the plot point beats and the bullet points that I've created with the outline and turn those into prose and write out my first draft using that first chapter. So that should be exciting. Questions? Hey, did you know how a manuscript was made before you watched this video? And if so, did you learn anything new? Let me know what you learned or didn't know or whatever in the comments below. And, obviously I'm trying to grow the channel, which brings me to some interesting news. This week on the 3rd will be 1 year this channel has been going strong. I have what is it, 7 times I have over 70, I have almost 80, I have over 70 videos, lesson videos that I have popped up over the last year, not to mention the amount of short videos I've created, the 1 minute introspective videos of writing and stuff like that. We're almost at 500 subscribers, and every month it's 20 to 40 subscribers each month. It's constantly growing. I'm so proud of the audience and their feedback, and I'm honored and humbled. I'm just grateful that you give me your time to do these videos. And with that said, there's gonna be slight changes, as in I'm gonna add more playlists and some things like that. So I look forward to that. So on the 3rd, happy anniversary. Let's see what this next following year goes, right? Anyway, with that said, keep developing the right mindset, and I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.